What if everything you've been feeling lately isn't random, but a sign that you carry a spiritual gift from God? Something powerful inside you that you still don't fully recognize yet. There are moments in your life where you feel something deep inside of you that you cannot explain. A weight that sits quietly in your chest and follows you even when everything around you seems calm. A feeling that no matter how much you try to ignore it, it keeps coming back and reminding you that there is something different about you that you cannot fully understand yet. You try to live like everyone else, to smile, to laugh, to move forward as if everything is normal. But deep inside, there is a part of you that feels disconnected, as if you are searching for something you cannot name, as if your soul is reaching for something greater that your mind cannot yet comprehend. And this constant tension between who you are and who you feel you are meant to be becomes something you carry every single day. There are nights when you lie awake thinking about your life, wondering why you feel things so deeply, why certain emotions seem heavier for you than for others, why you sometimes carry burdens that do not even feel like they belong to you. And in those silent moments, you begin to question yourself in ways you never show to anyone else because you are afraid of being misunderstood. People see your outside, but they do not see what is happening within you. They do not understand the quiet battles you fight, the thoughts you keep to yourself, or the way your heart reacts to things that others overlook. And because of that, you learn to hide parts of yourself, to adapt, to become what others expect you to be, even if it means silencing that inner voice that keeps telling you that there is more to you. And even though there were moments when you felt lost, when you doubted yourself, when you almost believed that something was wrong with you, there has always been something inside you that refused to disappear, a quiet strength, a light that never fully went out, something that kept you going, even when you did not understand why. Stay with me, because what you have been feeling is not random. It is not weakness, and it is not a mistake. It is something deeper, something meaningful, something that has been placed inside of you for a reason. And by the time you reach the end of this message, you may begin to see yourself in a completely different way. What you are feeling may not mean what you think it means. And this is where most people get it wrong, because they assume that every strong emotion or deep sensitivity comes from God, when in reality, not everything you feel is from Him. And if you do not learn to discern the difference, you can spend your life confused, misled, and disconnected from what God is actually trying to do in you. Because the truth is that a spiritual gift is not just about feeling something deeper than others. And it is not just about being emotional or different, because many people feel deeply and still remain far from God. And many people think they are spiritual when they are simply overwhelmed by their own thoughts and experiences. So, the real question is not whether you feel something, but whether what you feel is aligned with God. And this is where it becomes serious, because misunderstanding this can either draw you closer to Him or slowly lead you away without you even realizing it. God does not create confusion, and He does not lead you into disorder. So if what you are experiencing is truly from Him, it will not only make you feel something, it will begin to shape your heart, challenge your thoughts, and push you toward truth, even when it is uncomfortable. And this is exactly why you need to pay attention, because there are clear signs that reveal when something inside of you comes from God and not from your emotions, your environment, or your past. And those signs are not based on feelings alone, but on transformation, direction, and alignment with Him. But you are not here by accident. And if you are still listening at this moment, it means you are ready to see the difference. Because what comes next is going to help you recognize whether what you carry is just emotion or something that truly comes from God. And in the next part, you are going to discover 5 specific signs that will not only challenge what you think, but reveal whether there is something spiritual inside of you that God Himself has placed there for a reason. What you have been feeling actually has a name. And the Bible does not leave it vague or mysterious, because in 1 Corinthians chapter 12, it explains that there are different kinds of spiritual gifts, and that each one is given by the same Spirit for a purpose that goes beyond yourself. It talks about things like discernment, where you begin to sense what is true or not without anyone explaining it to you, and that moment where you felt something was off, even when everything looked normal, starts to make sense, because it is not just intuition. It is something spiritual that God can place inside a person. It speaks about knowledge, where you suddenly understand something deeper than what is said, where you see connections, where you perceive meaning behind words. And that feeling you had of going deeper than others is not random, because it aligns with what Scripture describes. It speaks about compassion and service, where you feel the pain of others almost as if it were your own, where you cannot ignore someone hurting, where something inside you moves you to act even when it costs you, and that weight you thought was too much may actually be connected to how God formed your heart. It speaks about encouragement, where you find yourself choosing your words carefully because you know they carry weight, where someone comes to you heavy and leaves with clarity, not because you solved everything, but because something in what you said stayed with them long after the conversation ended. And then there is something deeper, something quieter, where you feel drawn to God without fully understanding why, where you cannot stay surface level for too long, where something inside you keeps pulling you toward truth, and that is not pressure, it is direction. In Epistle to the Romans chapter 12, it says that these gifts are different but all belong to one body, which means you are not meant to carry everything. But what you carry matters, and what you felt in silence is not something without meaning. So, what you experienced in those moments where you felt different, where you felt deeper, where you questioned yourself, that is not just emotion without direction. It has a language, it has a place, and it has already been spoken about long before you ever tried to understand it. And now, the real question is not whether something is there, but whether you are going to recognize it correctly. Because in the next part, you are going to see why some people carry these things and never walk in them, while others step into what God placed inside them. Now that you see it, you cannot go back to ignoring it, because what God places inside a person is not meant to stay hidden forever. And there comes a moment where you have to decide whether you will keep living as if nothing is there, or begin to walk in what He has already started in you. This is not about becoming someone else overnight, and it is not about having all the answers right now, but about being honest with what you recognize and choosing to move closer to God instead of staying in confusion. Because a gift does not grow in silence and distance, it grows in relationship. And the more you turn your attention toward God, the more clarity begins to replace uncertainty, and the more what once felt overwhelming starts to take shape. You do not need to force anything, and you do not need to prove anything, because what comes from God develops with time, with obedience, and with trust. And even small steps begin to change how you see yourself and how you respond to what you feel. So instead of questioning everything, begin to listen, begin to seek Him, begin to pay attention to what moves your spirit. Because what you carry is not random, and if you stay open, God will make it clear in ways you will not be able to ignore. And what you choose to do with that will shape everything that comes next.